Hey, stop buying a $40 little teeny tiny thing of super greens and make your own. It's super easy. I'll show you how. I'm using all kale today, but you can use kale and spinach or kale and Swiss chard. Basically, any greens that you would normally find in a super green powder, you can use in this recipe. So I have a variety of kale that we've grown here. Now, you don't have to use homegrown kale. It's okay. If you haven't grown it yourself, you can get it from the store. If you do choose store-bought, I would highly recommend that you buy organic though, because kale is on the Dirty Dozen list. And if you're not familiar with what that is, I'll go ahead and link it in the description box below, but basically every year, the Environmental Working Group analyzes the USDA data to determine which fruits and vegetables have the most pesticides on them. And so kale is one of the higher ones. It's on the Dirty Dozen list. So it means this is one of those items that you're going to want to spend a little bit extra money and buy organic. If you're going to the trouble to make this green powder to make yourself healthier, why would you want to ingest all those pesticides? Just saying.
I'll put a link to the instructions in the description box below, but basically I would say you're going to need probably 2 to 3 bunches of kale from the store, or 2 bags like the one I showed you in the first clip. I just had a ton from my garden, so just go ahead and wash it and pat it dry. You just want to make sure there are no little bugs in there because they like to hide, especially in the curly kale. And once you've got it all washed and dried, I like to take out that tough stem in the middle. You can leave it in if you like. I mean, it's gonna get blended up anyways, but I just like that big tough piece out of there. I figure it's gonna be harder to blend up if you leave it in. And then just kind of break it up and put it around on each tray of your dehydrator. And I'll also link to the dehydrator that I have in the description box below. They're a little bit on the pricier side, about $70 or so, but these things are so handy, and we've had ours for over 10 years and it's still going strong, so it's well worth the money. You can see just how much kale I packed onto these trays. They were full, like I could not get them any fuller. As a matter of fact, as you'll see, I had trouble putting this last tray on top because there was so much kale packed in there. You couldn't do this with like fruit or something, but I know the kale is gonna condense down. And then you're gonna go ahead and plug it in and turn it on to 120 degrees Fahrenheit for about 6 hours, or until it's really crunchy and crumbly.
These super greens would be ideal for your long-term food storage because when we're storing food for a long time, it's really hard to keep enough fruits and vegetables on hand. So this will help you get those nutrients in. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say food storage, then check out my food storage videos. I have 2 of them, and I'm gonna link them in the cards and also in the description box below. You can see just by looking at the kale how much it shrunk down. I had each of these trays packed full, like to the point where when I put my dehydrator together, it was having to push all the kale down so it would close. But I dehydrated it for probably about 6 or 7 hours, which is how long it took. If you do it in the oven, it's gonna be a little bit less. And I'll put all the instructions down in the description box below, so don't worry, you don't have to remember all of this. But as you can see, it's done, and how you know is if it's crunchy like this. Do you hear that? How it's super crunchy and crispy, and you can tell all the moisture is gone. That's how you know it's ready to be blended up. I would highly recommend using a highly powered blender like a Blendtec or a Vitamix. I have my Vitamix back here. Make sure that your blender is 100% dry before you put the kale in there, otherwise it will just stick to it and make a big old mess. So
you want to blend this up until it's a fine powder. You do not want any little pieces of kale. So blend it for a few seconds and then go ahead and kind of stir it. Make sure you get all the way to the bottom and then mix it again. If you have a Vitamix, do not under any circumstances use the plunger because your kitchen will be green. Ask me how I know.
It's all blended up and ready to use. This would be great to use in like a soup or a stew or a chili if you're trying to get in more vegetables and nutrients, and say your family is not a big fan of greens, that would be a great way to use it. Or if you just like getting your greens in yourself, you could mix it in with a smoothie or juice or even just water if you can stomach it. So it's all ready to use, and you could store it in your fridge or your freezer for probably up to 3 months, I would say. However, if you want it to last longer, you could go ahead and seal this jar, and I'm going to show you how to do that with this handy little tool that I got off of Amazon. This is a mason jar vacuum sealer, and it works for regular mouth or wide mouth jars. So let me show you how it works. It is so cool.
So this handy little tool was only about $28 on Amazon, and right now it has a 20% off coupon, so go run and grab that. And this is what it looks like. This is the brand I bought. There are a number of them out there, but this one had the best reviews and it did not disappoint. So you want to make sure that your jar edge is clean and dry and there's no kale powder on there, or you won't get a good seal. And you just twist off the top part of it, the vacuum sealer, so that it works for the wide mouth jars. And it comes with little lids. You just put it on your jar, you push the vacuum sealer all the way on, and you press the button and it seals. I mean, it could not be easier than that. It only takes about 30 to 40 seconds, and you are done, and your food is completely safe from bugs and moisture, and it'll last for probably years, honestly. And if you notice, there's that little indent on the top. That's how you can tell it's sealed. And I mean, this thing was sealed. It worked so well. I was super impressed, actually. So you can just go ahead and store this and use it whenever you like. I am using some of this in a smoothie. This is a smoothie my husband's made for years. I don't really have a recipe, but I'll sort of put like a quasi recipe down in this description box below. But I just put a tablespoon of this greens powder in with a little bit of almond milk and some pineapple and some frozen bananas and some hemp seeds, and it is super yummy and nourishing. Hope you guys loved that, and you'll check out all the other videos on my channel, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.